Have you ever felt stuck in a cycle of constantly solving problems, but never truly progressing towards your dreams? What if I told you that this approach is one of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to goal achievement? In today's episode, we're diving deep into the top 10 mistakes that are keeping you from achieving your goals. I'm also going to share the details for a free mini training that will help you shift your mindset around goal setting so you can maximize your creative potential and bring your dreams into reality with more ease and flow. There's loads to cover in this episode, so let's get started. If there was a guarantee that you could create your dream life, a life that truly mattered to you, would you want it? My name is Terriane Palmer-Peacock, and I'm delighted to welcome you to the One Person Podcast. I have a belief that one person can make a difference in the world. That person is you. It's me. When we show up as the best version of ourselves, when we create and live our dream lives, we make a positive impact on ourselves and those around us. So if simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies, tools and tips on how to do that inspires you, then you are in the right place, my friend. So let's get started. So the first mistake is probably the biggest mistake I see all the time and was something that I was unaware of for the longest time. And this mistake is constantly focusing on problem solving rather than creative orientation. Now, I used to be very proud to call myself a problem solver. In fact, organizations have entire departments assigned to problem solving, and people often wear the problem solving badge with pride. You know, most people believe solving problems is the best way to achieve success, but this is a very reactive response. If you want to create your dreams with the most ease and flow, then problems are the last thing you want to be giving energy or attention to. Think about this. If you are problem solving, you are still in the problem. All your energy, all your focus, and all your attention is in the problem. Now, I like this quote from Robin Sharma. What you focus on grows, what you think about expands, and what you dwell upon determines your destiny. So if you want to get rid of the problem, quit thinking about it. So instead of problem solving, imagine if you put that energy or that same energy and attention into what you wanted to create in your life. Now, let's take an example. Let's look at our politicians. Doesn't matter which country you are in, the same thing applies here. They spend all our taxpayers' money and time and energy on selling us what problems they are going to fix. Imagine if instead they put that same amount of energy into building the type of community that they wanted to live in or the type of country that they wanted to create. You know, take a look at your own life. If you're listening to this in the morning, think about yesterday. And if you're listening to this in the evening, think about your day today. And if you're listening during the day, well, you get to choose. So consider this question. How many creations did you create today or yesterday versus how many problems did you look to solve? Now, if you're thinking about getting new clients, you're probably problem solving. If you're thinking about earning more money, you're probably problem solving. Or if you're looking for a new fast or diet to lose weight, you are still problem solving. So what you want to do instead is raise your vibration above the problem. You need to transcend the problem and look at what you want to create instead. Now, there's a whole structure to this, which I'm going to talk about in some future episodes. And this also leads me to the second biggest mistake people make, which is not knowing what you want. What do you want? Can you answer that question with clarity and confidence? Is what you want something you truly desire or something you think you can achieve? Now, I'm not going to spend much time on this mistake because I already did an entire episode on it. Now, that was episode 4. So if you haven't listened to it already, mark that as the next one to listen to, or maybe go back and listen to it again. It's really helpful in determining what it is you actually want. So mistake number 3 is ignoring the power of creative tension. Now, this is a biggie and probably, again, more than I can cover in this podcast episode. So I'm going to go in depth about this topic in an upcoming free mini training. Now, if you want to know more about that training, head over to terrianepalmer.biz, B-I-Z, F for Freddie, F. And get yourself on the wait list, and I'll let you know when that training will be held. Or you can check out the show notes below and click on the link. Now, we all know most people will do anything to avoid pain. Well, tension is one of those things people put in the pain basket. When there is tension around, they try get rid of it or resolve it. Now, a basic principle found all throughout nature is that tension always seeks resolution. From the spiderweb to the human body, from galaxies to the shifts of continents, from the swing of pendulums to the movement of wind-up toys, tension resolution systems are in play. Now, here's a simple example in conversation of tension. If I asked you, "How are you today?" there is a structural tension in place to answer the question. So the question itself sets up the tension and the answer resolves the tension. Okay, it's pretty basic stuff, right? Tension seeking resolution. "Hi Bob, did you go to dinner tonight?" There's tension. "Yes, I did." There's the resolution. So when we think about tension in the context of results, we need to first change the meaning and association of the word tension from being a bad thing to a good thing. So avoiding creative tension is what leads to a lack of direction and stagnation, and nobody wants that. So when we use tension in a positive way, it will propel us towards our goals. So we want to set up a creative tension that resolves in favor of our goals. And you only need to know 2 points in order to do that. What you want, as in what's the outcome or results that you want to achieve, and where you are now in relation to what you want. Once you know those 2 points, you now have set up a creative tension structure that needs to be resolved. Now, here's the great thing about this stuff. It's actually really simple, but not always easy. Now, remember, if you're interested in going a bit deeper in this or finding out more about how you can use tension to propel yourself forward, then again, make sure you check out those show notes, click the link, and get yourself on the wait list for the free mini training. Now, I might speed up this next one so I don't keep you here too long. Number 4, operating from beliefs rather than vision. Now, your existing beliefs and past experiences are not accurate predictors of what you can achieve. Just because that's how things have been up until now does not mean that's how things need to be in the future. Now, I really got this when I turned 50. There were people around me who became suddenly old in their 50s. Now, if we think of our grandparents, they retired in their 50s, but they also died in their 60s and 70s. And we're not dying that young anymore, or at least I'm not. So one of the questions I like to ask people, which I know can be a little confronting, in fact, one of my paddling teammates said to me the other day that she considers me half crazy. I think she was referring to the level I train and paddle at, but that's a whole nother story. So the confronting question, what's your number? Do you have a number that you want to live to? As in, do you have an age number that you want to live to? Now, if you're under 50 years old and you're listening to this question is probably not going to be for you. It won't even be on your radar to be thinking of that. But if you are over 50, have you thought about it? And do you have a goal for it? Because I do. I set my number at 100, which means when I turned 50, I recognised I'm only halfway through my life. Everything I have done, which is a lot, is only half of what can be done. You see, I'm not buying into the belief that over 50 is old. I mean, if you listen to my last podcast, I'm the second fastest woman in Australia at the moment on an OC1 over 10 kilometres, and I'm only second by 5 seconds. So I'm not letting anyone tell me that I'm old. That is one belief I'm not buying into. So your beliefs are simply ideas or experiences that in most cases were passed down to you. Heck, most people's beliefs aren't even theirs in the first place. So don't let any limiting beliefs dictate what your goals and behaviours are going to be. Don't let them restrict your potential. Instead, focus on a clear, compelling vision for your future, free from any constraints of your past. And decide on your number. Because when you have 20, 30, 40, or even 50 years left to live, those visions can become quite exciting and compelling when you think about how much time you have to achieve them, especially with the amount of experience and knowledge you now have under your belt. All right, mistake number 5 is misaligning your goals with your true nature and purpose. Purpose conversations. I actually really dislike purpose conversations because in my days of teaching seminars, finding your purpose was such a big deal. And people would get so emotional and upset because they didn't know their purpose, or their purpose wasn't grand enough or big enough, or it didn't contribute enough, or it wasn't spiritual enough. Like, honestly, the purpose conversations were exhausting. If you don't feel like you have your purpose nailed down, let me give you one right now. You are a living thing on this planet, and every living thing has one main purpose, and that is to sustain life and grow. So if you didn't have your purpose before now you do. Live your life. All right, now that we've got purpose out of the way, the mistake people make in the context of goal achievement is people often choose goals based on external influences and society's expectations rather than what their heart wants or what they're naturally good at. If when you achieve your goals, you don't get a deep sense of fulfillment, then I would hazard a guess that the goal you just achieved was not in alignment with your true nature and purpose. You inherently know deep down what you are good at and what brings you joy. So the key here is to create opportunities where you can achieve goals that give you more of those feelings. If you're chasing goals to look good, or to please other people, or to climb the corporate ladder, don't be surprised when you reach the top that you feel empty inside. Because fulfillment doesn't come from achieving more money, more status, more external validation. It comes from aligning with your heart and your core identity. Okay, mistake number 6, failing to engage in the creative process. You see, success is not a linear process of hard work and perseverance. You know, my coach said something to me that I really liked the other day. He said, do you know what? There's only 2 formulas in life. One for success and one for failure. And the one for failure is anything that's not in the success formula. It's so good. You know, this mistake is easy to identify when we compare ourselves against creatives from the arts. And what I'm meaning by that is musicians or painters or architects or dancers. You see, when a painter starts to paint, they will almost always have an idea of what they want to create. Now, some will have a feeling that they're trying to bring to life. Others will have a vision of the end picture, but no idea of how they will get there. You know, when I was choreographing our routine for the New Zealand National Aerobics Champs, now I competed back in the 90s. I'm over 50, remember. I knew elements I had to include as part of the judging process, and I knew how I wanted to make the audience feel when we performed. But I didn't know much of anything else. We'd never competed at an aerobics competition before, so we were well and truly in the not knowing space. But in that first year of our competition, we won gold. We were New Zealand champions in the pairs category because we flowed with the creative process. Now, we didn't know what to expect, but we knew what we were good at, and our routine was developed around our strengths and what we love to do. We actually wore bright coloured leotards and created a routine that was funk and dance based. In fact, if you want to check out a picture of what I looked like back then and the actual routines, go check me out on my website, on our blog, on my podcast page. And I think what I want to share with you there is the joy and the energy just oozed out of us when we performed because we were in love with what we were doing. It was upbeat, it was fun, it got the audience clapping. It was a bit cheeky, and dare I say, it was a lot corny. You know, for me, I was taller than my male partner, so we couldn't do the traditional lifts. So instead, we made fun of it, and we got away with it and won gold. Now, the following year, what's interesting about this is we decided to go more serious and create something epic. So the music we used was Stairway to Heaven, which is quite intense. We hired a coach and a choreographer, and to be honest, do you know what? It felt like we were forcing things and we weren't being true to ourselves. And as a result, we didn't do very well. In fact, that campaign just led to overtraining, frustration, and burnout. So staying in the creative process means to follow the flow. It's allowing yourself to remain flexible and adaptive throughout the journey. It's also a perfect segue into the 7th mistake people make when achieving their goals, which is neglecting the role of inner knowing. So rational analysis and logical planning are essential, but they are not the only paths to success. When you ignore intuitive insights and inner guidance, you miss out on profound breakthroughs. And unfortunately, most people have been programmed and conditioned to ignore their inner guidance. Let me know if you can relate to hearing these sentences when you were a child. Stop dreaming. Oh, you've got your head in the clouds. That's not real. Boy, you really do have a vivid imagination. And it's almost as if these things were bad things. And because we were told that all the time when we were children, at some stage during our growth path, we decided the make-believe voice in our heads was bad or wrong. And that was probably the moment that we decided to not trust ourselves or trust our inner voice. And of course, we know now that's a huge mistake. Because the decisions that are made from a gut feeling or from your intuitive insight are almost always better decisions than those made from our rational thinking mind. So my advice to you, listen to that inner voice and allow it to guide your actions. Mistake number 8 is overemphasizing external validation. So if you're seeking constant affirmation from others instead of trusting your inner genius or your inner intuition, it can derail your self-worth and your direction. Relying on external opinions disconnect you from your true purpose. Like the title of this podcast, you only need one person, and that person can actually be you, or it can be me, or it can be a third person to help you give or help give you the courage to know within yourself that you have got this and whatever you are doing is awesome. You see, the person who knows you the best is you. The person who knows what is best for you is you. And the person who has you number one in their life should be you. Now, I want you to think about the last trip you took overseas or maybe interstate. You walk down the gangplank and you board the aeroplane. You take your seat, and after the doors are closed, the hostess stands with their yellow life jackets in their hands ready to deliver the safety briefing. For your own safety, we recommend you keep your seatbelt on at all times. If the cabin air fails, a mask will appear automatically. Pull the mask towards you and place it over your mouth and nose and breathe normally. Ensure your own mask is fitted before helping anyone else. That's the rule on the plane. And as hard as it is, Mama Bears, I'm probably talking mostly to you here, you cannot be there for others if you do not put your own oxygen mask on first. And by the way, we're not all perfect at mastering these ideas. This one in particular for me is my kryptonite. When you trust yourself and you act anyway, I know from personal experience that it always 100% works out either how I want it to go or better. You know, I remember sitting at an event and Lisa Nichols, now for those of you who don't know who she is a relatively a celebrity in the motivational field or industry in the US. She featured in the movie The Secret. She's been on Oprah. Anyway, she was a guest speaker at the event. And this one piece that she said really resonated with me. She said, don't worry if no one else believes in your dream, because your dream wasn't given to them. It was given to you. That's so powerful. You see, other people can't see what you can see in your visions. So if you're seeking external validation for your dreams, of course other people can't be as excited or passionate or even supportive of you as because they can't see what you can see. They weren't given the dream. You were. So no matter where you are on your path, trust yourself and trust that you are right where you are meant to be, which includes listening to this podcast, by the way. Now, I can't help but add a cheeky plug here. Do you want to work with me directly? If you like this podcast, and if you do want to work with me, then get yourself on the VIP waitlist for a brand new program that I have coming out soon. It's the first program of its kind. And here's the thing, I'm only taking a limited number of people into the program, so you need to act fast when it opens. In fact, because it is brand new, I'm limiting the number of people I'm accepting because I want to trial and test it to make sure it exceeds your expectations. And by the way, did I mention, I'm whispering here, it's discounted to half price. For this first intake only, because I want to make sure I can 10x your results. So the link for the waitlist is in the show notes or on my webpage at terrianepalmer.biz/FF. So make sure you register for that today. All right, mistake number 9, misinterpreting resistance as a sign to stop. Encountering resistance doesn't mean that you should abandon all your efforts. It doesn't feel right. I'm not sure about this. In most cases, I'm going to say codswallop and ask you to answer the following question. Does it not feel right, or does it not feel familiar? You see, resistance is a natural part of the creative process. So if you are creating something new, then you will be venturing into unknown territory, and anything unknown will have some element of fear attached to it. Now, what is the role of the unconscious mind? To keep you safe. So unknown territory to the unconscious mind is unsafe. And so, of course, it's going to throw up all types of resistance to get you back to what it knows you can survive. That's its job. So embrace resistance. Go into your heart, focus on your end goal, and ask yourself, what's next? Then do whatever you're told to do. Here's the thing. You don't need to feel good to create. You can create no matter what your emotional state. So persist through your negative feelings and you will reach breakthroughs. You will complete your projects and you will achieve your goals. Now, I feel like I need a little disclaimer on this one for those who are very literal. Sometimes spirit or your intuition will tell you something is not right. And the key is to understand the difference between your intuition that is guided by a higher power and your unconscious mind that is guided by your past. You know, maybe that's another workshop or episode that I can cover off in the future. So, you know what? Let me know if that's something that you would be interested in. And finally, mistake number 10, which is failing to cultivate a state of flow. So this is where you force yourself to work harder. You put more hours in. You know, perhaps you have subscribed to the old adage, you've got to work hard to make money. You know, the question that I have for you here is it possible that someone can work 60 hours a week and earn less than another person who only works 30 hours a week? Now, of course it's possible, and it happens all the time. So working hard is a false statement and premise. Now, I am old school, and I'm going to almost contradict myself here because I do see merit with working hard, but working hard at the right things. And that's the difference that makes all the difference. And in this case, I'm going to say it pays off to work hard at cultivating a state of flow. Because anything less than operating from flow will more often than not result in efficiencies in your work and burnout. So take the time to incorporate activities and routines that promote a natural rhythm for yourself, where creativity and productivity flourish effortlessly. Now, for me personally, I have my own momentum planner. Now, it's a tool that I use every day to keep me in a creative orientation and focused on the things that truly matter to me. In fact, it's my go-to Bible for the start of my day and how it keeps me or makes sure that I remain in a state of flow. So, those are the 10 mistakes that prevent you from achieving your goals. I'm curious, which ones resonated with you the most? Was there one that stood out to you that you know what? I'm doing that one all the time. You know, let me know on Facebook or shoot me a message on Messenger. I'd love to hear from you. And finally, just a reminder, if you would like to work with me in person or if you're interested in being a founding member of my upcoming brand new program, The Fulfillment Formula, then make sure you click on the link in the show notes below and join the waitlist. Thank you for listening today. I'm your host, Terriane Palmer-Peacock, and until next time, keep creating and stay inspired.